If you've ever listened to the K-pop group aespa, you know they have a very specific sound. Every track feels futuristic, bombastic, and super polished. But how do they actually pull it off? In this video, I'm gonna break down the exact production choices that make aespa sound, well, like aespa. From the drums, to the synths, to the vocal production and layering. So that by the end of this video, you understand how to create that same bold K-pop sound in your own home studio. Let's jump in. All right, so one of the first things I like to do when I analyze an artist's style is I listen to a few of their songs to see if there is a feel that they like to go for more often than not. And this could mean anything, right? It could be BPM, it could be the kinds of chords that are used, the overall mood. So I got Dirty Work music video here. Let's just check it out for a little bit.
Teeth, bite first, real bad business, that's
it's so cool.
Real bad business, that's dirty word. Real bad business, that's dirty word.
So yeah, immediately this is very moody. It's mid-tempo. It's not trying to be too upbeat, too energetic, but it's got a ton of sass and energy. All right, this is Drama.
I'm the drama.
Okay, so again, very similar. Rhythmic, mid-tempo, not trying to go too fast. And right, obviously they have other singles, but I feel like this type of style is very, very them, like the quintessential aespa. So I think what we should do is try to find a BPM in that mid-tempo range. Right, it could be like ziggy ziggy zag, I'm new, cause I go biggie biggie bad, is true. Right, like 130. It could even go up higher to like 150, 160, something mid-tempo where we can just kind of sit. Now, once I figure out the feel I'm going for, I like to analyze the specifics of songs, right? What kinds of drums are they using? What kinds of synths? What do the vocals sound like? The devil is in the details, guys. So this is where I really enjoy using the stems plugin from Fader, because basically this lets me separate the various parts inside songs, like aespa songs, to see really what is going on in there, right? So we're gonna go to the upload tab. I'm just gonna drag and drop it right in here into Fader. Oh, I did it twice, it's okay. And what I wanna specifically listen to now are drums. So we can just grab those and drag them out into the session. We can just solo this track. All right, these are gonna be just the drums from Drama. Okay, so immediately we hear like a very powerful clap that almost sounds like a group of people. We hear a massive kick drum. Real roomy. We also hear a lot of metallic percussion, some hyperpop percussion, some trap hats. And why don't we try this with Dirty Work now, just to see what those drums sound like. All right, let's drag those drums out onto their own track. So again, we've got a really massive kick, we've got a clap, and then we've got really stylized drums right here with this fill. Notice how this is panning to the sides. It's also very distorted. And what this is like a real drummer, right? This is an acoustic sample of a fill, and it's just been affected with the distortion and the panning and stuff. So this gives me an amazing direction immediately with drums. I know I gotta go trap, I gotta go hyper pop, and I gotta add some unique effects to my drums. All right, well, first of all, we need that super powerful kick. I've got this. This is a kick from one of my sample packs. I just kind of knew this would slam. And I'm pairing it with this stomp sample right here. So more of a realistic acoustic stomp, and there's a little bit of metal in there. There's like a tambourine mixed into the sample, and together they sound like this. So we've got the trap power, and we got a little bit of a nod to that acoustic drum vibe that we heard in Dirty Work. We of course do need a clap. So I've got this literally huge group layering clap. This is also from a pack, Must Have Pop. And I mix it in with this clap. So the idea here, this is very important. So this clap, this one, the MIDI one, this is very much sitting in the center of the stereo image, right? Listen again. It's right here. And then the layering clap, if you listen to that soloed, it's all shimmering on the sides. There's not a lot of middle information. So when you combine them, you get this. I call this the full clap stack. Great technique to get just that full-bodied clap or snare. You can try this with a snare too. And for that hyper pop nod, I'm also combining this with a metallic hit. This is from the Sophie sample pack. Really, really incredible hyperpop samples in here. I always reach for this if I need just like a metallic clang. And I even have some right here as well, used more as percussion versus clap doublers. There's that one. There's that one. They're all just little different, right? They're all clangs, but one is higher, one is lower. It's fun to play with this. And then of course, I have a hi-hat loop. This is classic trap. It sounds like this. Mostly closed hats, some open ones as well. So yeah, a very simple beat, but check out what it sounds like all together. We've got the hyperpop with the metallic clangs. We've got the trap with the hi-hat. We've got the big powerful clap. I feel like we really took what we heard in aespa songs and used it all in this drum package. And okay, now let's move on and start listening to tonal instruments. Synths, guitars, bass, anything with a pitch. I've got aespa's song Rich Man right here. I'm gonna go ahead and drag it right here into stems and let's see what kind of elements are used here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this other stem, drag that out. Let's explore what's in here. All right, so immediately we have a combination of distorted synths and distorted guitars. And if you're not familiar with the song, it sounds like this. These elements are very much upfront.
I am a rich man. I'm my own biggest fan, and I'm high in the man. I am a rich man.
Very powerful song. And yeah, even in this verse part, you can kind of hear like a chugging guitar underneath. We also have the same thing in their song Armageddon. So just like a very distorted, growling sort of synth bass. And Dirty Work too does something kind of similar if we listen to the intro. We've got a bass with distortion on it. So I think the direction is really clear. We need something distorted, right? Whether it's a synth, a bass, a guitar, maybe several of those elements at once. We just need our instruments to sort of growl at the listener to really bring that aggression, that power. And okay, this is what I did right here. All right, so what this is it's a guitar sample, right? If we take this and extend it and just kind of hear the original, it was pretty similar. Right, I kind of took out some of the parts that didn't fit the rhythms I was going for. Like I basically got rid of this. And I mostly just used the front part. And I'm also processing it a little bit. Like I'm taking out the bottom because it had a lot of bass mixed into it as well. And I want to do that separately. So I mostly wanted like the middle, the higher frequencies, not the low. And then also some of these sort of guitar wails that were mixed into the original sample, I'm processing separately on a separate track like this, right? In this way, I'm able to control the panning, somewhere to the left, somewhere to the right. And it just sounds a little bit more precise this way. But of course, I'm not stopping with just guitar. I also wanted to bring a little bit of that growl feeling into the bass frequencies. So I have this 808 right here. And obviously the sample choice is really important here, but something I'm doing here that is kind of subtle but really fun is I'm dragging down the pitch at the ends of these phrases like this. And then right here, it actually swoops up. So this just adds a little bit of movement to my bass, makes it sound a little bit more designed versus random. And I'm going further with the whole distorted instrument idea, and I'm using this bass on top of the 808. So this is a wobble bass. When you marry it with the 808, you get this. So the 808 provides the lowest frequencies, the sort of shake at the bottom, and then the wobble provides rhythm. It provides texture too. I used a bit crusher on it. This one's really great from RC20. Just the digital module, like literally that much, will give you that like slight metallic-y feel on whatever you put it on. Really cool effect. And honestly, a lot of people would be tempted to add more things. I am kind of not. I feel like with the drums being as powerful as they are, and with the bass and the guitars being as distorted, everything sort of demands attention. So if I keep adding more instruments, like piling more stuff on, it will be too much. And this is what it sounds like right now. I think this is more than enough, to be honest. If anything, if you're creating a song in this style, you're like, oh, I miss more like beautiful instruments or chords, or, you know, adding more things. You can do that in like a bridge or a pre-chorus, like a totally different section. But of course, we wouldn't be talking about aespa if we didn't discuss their vocal production, right? I feel like aespa has some of the best vocal production, layering of different voices that I've ever heard in K-pop. So let's take a look. So I've got their song Armageddon here. Let's just take the vocals.
Watch, I'ma bite back, 짙은 어둠이 막아설 땐, 한 걸음 앞으로 날아든 it's best 사라진.
Okay, immediately what I'm hearing is layering, right? Every time she says, there's a bunch of layers that come in. I'm also hearing a little bit of distortion on the vocal, which is very intentional.
앞으로 날아든 it's best 사라진 feedback 시작.
Especially on the layers too, it's like feedback, and they're really shimmery with that saturation. Now, there's not a lot of harmony, but when it happens, it's super intentional, like this.
널 향해 견먹게 뒷근.
That oayo, that is a hook that is specifically designed to stick in your mind. So what I'm hearing just from checking out the song, we need interesting processing on the vocals, saturation, perhaps some doubling, perhaps some interesting layering, and we also need strategic use of harmonies and hooks. Okay, I've got some vocals here. Before I play this for you, I just want to explain what this is so you're not confused. On my main channel, I do this style of video where I remake songs without ever hearing them, and I try to guess what they sound like. I use the lyrics from the songs, but nothing else. So what you're about to hear are vocals using the lyrics of Rich Man by aespa, but it's like a completely different vibe, melody, everything. Just thought I'd explain before you're like,
I am a rich man, rich man. I'ma carry myself, I am a rich man. I'm my own biggest fan, I am a rich man. And I'm high in demand, I am a rich man. Don't.
All right, so let's talk about this. There's a few things I did here that are very strategically aespa. So this repetition of the word man,
rich man.
Right? I've got a stack of harmonies doing man, and it happens twice in a row. So this is meant to reinforce the hook, make the word man a little bit stickier in your mind. But there's also other stacks going on. One of the things aespa does a lot are dub stacks. So they're not harmonies. A lot of the times they're not even sung. They're like spoken, rapped. Like this.
Rich man, rich man.
So the way you create something like this, you just have to think mostly about texture. So first of all, you always think in twos. Like if you're trying to create a stack of vocals, you don't want to just have like one little vocal. That's not a stack. So a lot of the times I will do something twice and just pan it like left and right like this. And I might have one in the middle like this. So what we've got here is we've got a vocal in the middle. It does this.
Rich man.
So this is a fry texture vocal. I'm doing like rich man. That sound like a groggy, I'm about to fall asleep sound. And then I'm doing a little double stack right here.
Rich man.
Of whispering, and another double stack.
Rich man.
Of another fry. So in that way, we get that kind of a fuller
rich man
texture with this, right? And of course, speaking of texture, we are also texturizing the lead vocal, right? I have my normal vocal chain on it, you know, to make it all pretty and pop. And then I am distressing it with FabFilter Saturn. So it's cranked up decently. Honestly, it's about 50%. And I use this warm tape setting all the time for vocals. It's just the least like crazy aggressive. So it still sounds kind of like a nice vocal. It doesn't sound like, it's coming out of a guitar, but it has that bite to it. And then this is one of my like tricks, guys. Pay attention. So a lot of the times I find that saturation sort of smudges the attack of my vocals. They become just less punchier. They're like softer than how I sang them. So I bring back the attack using this plugin called Neutron, right? And I'm specifically transient shaping the upper register of my voice. So it kind of just has that nice like punch to it. And you can hear what it sounds like without these two.
Rich man, I'ma carry myself, I am a rich man.
Right, and then with these two.
Rich man, I'ma carry myself, I am a rich man.
It's a very subtle difference. To me, it just makes it like warmer, punchier, a little more aggressive. And that basically is the idea, guys, right? You go through your vocal package and you just look for two things. Things to texturize, to create cool textures on, and things to emphasize. If we listen to this first, for example.
Care about what they say.
So right, with these kind of hums, I guess, I'm creating texture by layering these. I think these are just natural, to be honest. Yeah, they're just little natural vocals. And then I'm doing this. So I've got copies of them right here on these tracks. So with the octave dropped, as you can see here, I took my normal pitched vocal and made it real low, right? And then guess what? That word again, the T word, I'm texturizing it. And this is like, the Saturn is really cranked up, honey. Like we're going for the distorted sound. And I do like this trick too of having a stack that's pretty distorted, like these lows, they're up there, and then a clean one, and it gives it kind of combination of both, right? The aggression and then also the cleanliness. But yeah, guys, you could use this process that I just showed you to create something in the style of any artist, pretty much, right? Grab their songs, put them into the stems plugin by Fader, separate it into different stems, and then just analyze what are the patterns? What are some of the things they seem to do on a lot of their songs? That is their style. So, and I'm gonna play this to you right now, just a little bit of it too, so you can see what it turned out like.
I am a rich man. I'ma carry myself, I am a rich man. I'm my own biggest fan, I am a rich man. And I'm high in demand, I am a rich man. Don't care about what they say.
And that was it, guys. Do hit subscribe for more production tutorials, and I will see you next time. Bye!